Hello and welcome to this KSP video. Today we're going to be sending this space station that you see being built into low Kerbin orbit. It has a capacity for 2 scientists. It also has a hub so we can have more modules as well as a docking array. Just built science lab, now you see me adding the hub. You need to make sure that the other modules have batteries, RCS ports, monopropellant, solar panels, stuff like that, so you can dock it to the rest of your space station. So now adding the monopropellant tanks. Don't need a lot of monopropellant, use it sparingly. Now the docking ports, regular sized docking ports are normally what you want to go for. And solar panels for the science bay so we can get electricity whilst we've not got the large solar array. Talking of which, building it here, I'm going to have 4 Gigantor, I think that's the name for them, solar arrays. Oh, no. Is that 4? Yeah, I think that's 4 solar arrays, not too sure. No, 6 per arm. Yeah. However, one of them did get broken off later in the video. So now building the rockets for the science bay and then the hub, you're only going to see me building 1 rocket for the solar arm. We're just going to be launching it twice. So there's going to be 4 launches. We're going to do the science module first, then the hub, and then the 2 solar arrays. See the hub being built here. Yeah, with the solar arrays I was trying to detach it from its lifting stage, and it spun round and whacked one of the solar panels into it, destroying it. Now, at the time of recording this, the 1.11 Some Assembly Required update recently came out for the PC version of Kerbal Space Program, not yet available for consoles, which is annoying. But when that update gets released for us, I'm going to do a video repairing the solar panels so it can be back up to maximum electric producing capacity. Now the rocket for the solar arm, it's quite simple, although after this was recorded I did have to add some fins to the solar one and the hub rocket. We're now lifting the science rocket into space. You've got your standard gravity turn, you need to be at 45 degrees by 10,000 metres. Got the mammoth engine on the first stage producing a lot of thrust, which is nice to get the payload into our stable orbit. Going to be going for an orbit of around 100 kilometres above Kerbin sea level, which is good because it's not too high, so we don't need that much delta V, but it's also not too low, so when we're doing our rendezvous it gives us quite a bit of room for error. So we're now flying flat. This isn't the most efficient way you could do it, but it makes sure that we have enough time to get our apoapsis quite far away from where we are. Lots of flames going up on the side of the rocket. And second stage ignition, we're using a Rhino engine for this stage. And this is definitely intentional, this certainly was not a mistake. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to control. Now we see the science bay, checking the solar panels to make sure that we were actually getting sunlight to them. It's plotting out our orbital insertion burn. I did get it a bit too high with the apoapsis, so I did do a manoeuvre to lower our apoapsis down so we were closer to 100k. Approaching to do our orbital insertion burn now. There we go. It's a bit difficult to see when it's going to happen. My preview window isn't particularly large, which is annoying. There we go. We've achieved orbit of Kerbin. Now drop ourselves down so our orbit is a bit lower. It should be alright though. Need to make sure it's nice and circular. Time warping down. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. YouTube doesn't really like dark bits of videos. Its compression methods make it a bit darker than it actually is. So it might be a bit too dark for you to see. there we go, just plotting out to make sure that we're equal. And now for the hub, you can see the fins I've added. When I was testing, the second stage would have a habit of flipping out uncontrollably, so I added the fins on it to make sure that we were going to be nice and stable through the atmosphere. Standard gravity assist, again, you don't want to be wasting too much fuel in the lower atmosphere, just be fighting the air resistance and not gaining any meaningful speed. Flying up nice and steadily, got a mainsail, yeah, on the bottom with some, I believe they're called Cub engines. To get the side engines, you will need the Making History DLC, which it's a good DLC. I definitely recommend Making History along with Breaking Ground. They both had quite a bit of good features to the game. Probably better for PC along with the mission builder with Making History. But the large Saturn V parts are quite good for when you're making large payloads. I know you have mods, but for console players especially, and also your PC players that like to play without mods, it is quite nice to have the larger parts available in the stock game. Really does add something to it, having more Delta V, and it also allows you to build Saturn V's, which is really nice for making Apollo recreations. I did one of them recently. You should see a card popping up in the top right of your screen. If not, it means I've forgotten and I'm an idiot. So let's try and remember to do that. Now warping up to do our orbital insertion burn. It's a quick burn, only just over 400 meters per second of Delta V, I think, I don't know. Again, quite difficult to see. But should have our skipper engine, there we go. I do quite like the new designs on the, well I say new, on the skipper and mainsail engines that were brought in by the 1.10 Shared Horizons update. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Console players only got that recently as well, which is a bit annoying. You might have just heard my Siri going off there, I apologise. He can be a bit eager sometimes. Here we go, doing our quick retrograde burn relative to our target to kill off our relative velocity and then burning towards it. You could probably do the rendezvous more efficiently, but this is more of a brute force way of doing things. Making sure that we get our encounter nice and low. We do have quite a bit of Delta V in our upper stage that we can waste on stuff like this, so it's not that bad. I have more than half a tank left by the looks of things, just over. So this hub will allow us to dock our solar panels as well as arriving spacecraft and also other modules, which is it's always nice. See, control from the docking port, it allows you to gauge better at how far away you are relative to your target. And here you see me targeting the approaching spacecraft with the space station. It's useful for things like this because they both automatically maintain alignment, making docking far easier than it would have been if you didn't do this. I've learnt this from Matt Lowndes' YouTube channel. And there we go, we're docked. Now you see me deorbiting this second stage. It's not an essential part, but I wanted to make sure that we weren't just going to be leaving the debris in orbit. I did do this for the other stages, although you don't see this now. We're going to be launching one of the solar arms. This is the one I had problems with. see I've got the fins there to stop it from flipping over, because I had a problem with that as well on this one. Now, flying up again, your standard gravity assist, how you do it normally like with the other two launches. Yeah, I had the solar panels open when we were in orbit, as you'll see, to make sure that we still had our electric charge topped up, and I didn't retract them when I decoupled it from the second stage of our rocket, and on the nav ball I think I had it normal, but we were then controlling the docking port, so it wanted to flip itself around, and I couldn't counteract it. So I ended up backing the solar panel into the wiped the solar panel into the stage, destroying it. However, with the 1.11 update on its way for console players, we should be able to do an EVA and repair it whenever that update reaches us, which may be soon, maybe quite far off. You never really know with these things. Well, I understand the difficulties of porting it over, but it is annoying that we have to wait so long to get the updates from PC to be added to console. Just about to do our orbital insertion burn, and then after this you'll see me opening up the solar panels. There we go. And we are now in orbit of Kerbin again with this. So there we go, solar panels opened up and preparing a manoeuvre to get us on our way to the space station. Reducing the thrust limiter for that engine, so we still have a manageable burn time for that manoeuvre node. It's quite short, but we still need to be quite precise, although KSP's way of doing the manoeuvre nodes isn't the best. It can be more accurate. I know on PC you can get mods such as Precise Node that allow you to have it more precise than the base game's system of manoeuvre nodes, but then if your engine is still on its max power setting, it's difficult with that, since you could overshoot the burn and then just waste more fuel on correcting it when you could have just gotten it right the first time. So it's always nice to make sure that your burns are in manageable chunks. Now, approaching the station, and very soon you'll see my mistake with the solar panels. And spinning ourselves around retrograde. It's very similar to when we were docking the sort of four-way hub module to the station. And warping closer and closer until we can kill off the rest of our velocity when we get nice and close to the station, so we're not wasting our limited supplies of monopropellant. You probably could have gotten away with even less monopropellant than what I used, but I'd like to make sure I've got the margins available. And here we go. This is where I got it wrong. Spinning around, smash. Yeah, that could have gone better, but I know for next time. So our station does have one less solar panel than it was designed with, which is a bit like Skylab, America's first space station. I think that got damaged during launch and one of the solar arrays didn't open up, or something like that. I'll do some googling and I'll put a pinned comment on saying what happened with Skylab solar panel. Skylab is quite an interesting story of really what can be accomplished, and also how big you can get your space stations, even if they're just single launch. Because Skylab was made to the third stage of the Saturn V and had quite a lot of usable living space. I think you can find some videos from on board Skylab on YouTube talking about space stations. I should probably get back to talking about ours. These videos are like calculus, beginning and end, and a whole load of tangents. And approaching the docking ports, probably should have been looking where I was going, although I'm not aiming to be too accurate. The magnets inside the docking port should pull us to a line as we get closer and closer. And missed it again. Come on. Come on. Yay! There we go, we're docked. So, unfurling our remaining solar panels. So now we get on to our fourth and final launch, which is the other solar arm. This one will be played a bit quicker than the last one, since it's pretty much the same minus the damaged solar panel. The only difference with this rocket is I added some RTGs inside the fairing, so we can. So you don't have to open the solar panels up to maintain power. So we've got less risk of whacking the solar panel into our second stage. Probably should have thought of that beforehand, however, you live and learn. There we go, this is our organisation. I had to sort of tilt us to the left a bit so we could cancel out a lot of error that was being introduced by our flight. Our inclination relative to our target was a bit off, so I had to adjust that in flight by just whacking us to the left a bit. And fairing deploy, you can see, you might be able to see the RTGs when we go back onto the, when we're able to see the rocket again. There we go, you can just about see them. If they've got 8 of them, I like symmetry, you could probably get away with 1 or 2 or however many you like. And we've also got a probe core and a reaction wheel. That allows us to deorbit our stage when we're finished with it. I did do this with the solar panels second stages, although they're not seen in the video. So it would just be pretty much the same as what I did with the one for the hub. Just point it retrograde and hope for the best, really. And talking of pointing and hoping, I'm going to be warping round and facing retrogrades to kill off our relative velocity to our target, which will be nice. I sort of planned these dockings so they'd happen on the light side of Kerbin, but our encounter nodes kept moving further and further away, which was a bit of a problem. So I just resorted to using physics time warp and eventually just gave up. And it'll do. We'll just brute force an encounter. Nearing the nodes again. Burning retrograde to kill off our relative velocity, and then burn towards the target to get closer, and rinse and repeat. Coming ever so closer. And you can see moving into view. And there we go, we managed to detach from our stage without breaking anything this time, which has to be a bonus. So using our RCS to get us closer to the station, and making sure that we're on the same level so we don't have to do as many translation movements. This video's gone on for quite a while now, about 20 minutes, so if you're still watching, thank you. You should have gone and made yourself a cup of tea or something. I heard Heinz have some rather nice soup, though other soup is available. I'm not sponsored by Heinz, although they do make quite nice soup. I like tomato soup. I'm not a big fan of your vegetable or chicken soup. And oh, we're docked. Probably should have been looking at the screen there. So now, just going to warp round in the daylight, get some shots of opening the solar panels up, which will look quite nice. So yeah, this is our space station. For now, in the future, we're going to be adding some more modules. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. If you want to see more things like this, subscribe and ring the bell notification to make sure you stay up to date. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.